All right. So we are going to start learning the different features of the face so that we can put them all together. The first one we're going to start out with is the eye. Who can tell me the shape of an eye? The outer shape of the eye. Thank you for the silent thumb. Miles? An oval. Very good. So the first thing I want you to do is somewhere on your paper, and we're going to draw pretty small for now, but not tiny. Okay? You're going to sketch. Don't bear down with your pencil. I'm holding mine kind of middle way. If you hold it way down here, you're going to press down hard. Hold it way up here, and you're going to kind of sketch lightly. Just a slightly rounded heel for the top, and then opposite for the bottom. Okay, so lemon shape, a football shape. That's going to be the beginning part of your eye. Do it on the side that does not have your name on it. Doesn't matter which way your paper's going. We're going to do this to where we're going to draw several of these. So don't draw huge all over your paper. Okay? Now, the colored part of our eye. Who knows what that's called? David? Pupil? No. The colored part of our eye, what's that called? The iris. Good. What is the shape of the iris? Lauren? A circle. Very good. Now, I want you to look across the table at the person sitting across from you. Look at their iris. The iris touches the top part of the eyelid and the bottom part of the eyelid pretty much, unless you're terrified. Okay? There should not be white space above the top and the bottom part of the iris. There's white space on the sides. Don't start drawing yet. Put your eyes up on the screen. So touching the top, touching the bottom, and round. Perfectly, perfectly round. Which is why we sketch, so that if we don't get it perfectly round, we can fix it. Leaving whites on the sides of the eyes. It's big. It's not a little teeny tiny thing. Don't ask me, is this good? Look at yours, look at mine. If it looks similar, you're on the right track. Then how do you fix that? There you go. We got answers to our own questions. And you don't have to erase. Just draw it somewhere else on the paper bigger. Okay. The very center of our eye, that is the black hole. David, what is that called? Pupil. The pupil. Who knows what the pupil does? Carly? It helps us see. How does it help us see? Anybody know? Or 100% sure?
I'm going to make a kind of guess.
Do it.
Sends images to our brain.
It does send images to our brain. How does it do that?
It helps you see color.
Be more specific. Nolan?
Maybe it lets in light that bounces off objects.
Ding, 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 ding. The pupil is a lens that opens and closes. Okay, it's like an aperture on a camera. When we're outside, there's a lot of light if it's daylight, right? So that pupil gets really, really teeny, teeny, tiny because it doesn't need a lot of a lot of light going into our brain. Okay, so it gets really teeny, tiny. So it only lets in a little bit of light. So think about it. When you go in to a dark movie theater from a bright sunny day, you can't see, can you? But if you looked at your pupil, when you go into a dark space, your pupil opens up as wide as it can so that it can get as much light inside as it can. So when you're in a dim area, your pupil is really big. When you're in a bright area, your pupil is really small. That's why when you go to the doctor, they shine a flashlight on your pupil to see if it's going to close up. And when they move it, that pupil needs to open back up. If it's doing that, it's a normal reaction. Okay? Yes, sir. Yeah, isn't that weird? Yeah. All right, right in the middle of your eye. Perfectly round pupil. Try to get it right in the middle. And then we are going to shade that in. I'm using kind of the side of the lead of my pencil, not putting it straight up and down on the point, because I don't want to carve into my paper. That should be the darkest part of the eye. All right. Your eyeball is, in fact, a ball, like the size of a ping pong ball, or well, maybe a little bit smaller, but it is a ball in your head. Okay? To make eyes look realistic, you got to have some three-dimension things going on. So, very carefully, not poking your eye, but very carefully, I want you to feel up here above your eyelid. Do you feel the top? Not on your eyelid, KJ. Feel your eyeball. You feel that top of that ball? That's inside your head. That's your eyeball. Okay? So to show that on your picture, following this shape of this line right here, which is the top of our eyelid, but not touching it, we're going to go up a little bit, and we're going to draw that eyelid. That's what creates your eyelid. That top of that ball creates your eyelid. Okay? Underneath. Very carefully take your little finger and feel underneath. A lot of people call these bags. I got bags under my eyes. And when you're tired, these get dark and puffy. That's the bottom part of your eyeball. Now, we're not going to do the same line. We're not going to draw a big old line down here. Okay? Everybody's eyes should be up on the screen. We're going to pretend like our nose is right here. Okay? On the side, on the corner close to where the nose would be, you're going to start a line that comes down, but it's only going to go about halfway. Just because we don't want it to look like a big old circle. Couple of more things about that eyeball. Look at the person across from you. Inside their eye, what do you see in the corners? Little red things. Those are not veins, although there are veins inside of it. Those are muscles. Okay? Those are your eye muscles that are holding that ball in place. If you did not have those muscles holding that ball in place, they might plop out. Now watch. Put your eyes up on the screen. The muscles need to be drawn like parentheses. They follow the shape of the side of the eye that they're on. So if this muscle's on this side, it's going to go here. This muscle is going to go here. And then we're going to shade very lightly that outside corner. Very lightly. Not as dark as the pupil, certainly. But it can't be a straight line down. It's got to be rounded. Everything about this eye is rounded. Your eye should already be looking more realistic than the eyes that you drew last week and 2 weeks ago. Yeah? Okay. Here's another little trick. Another little tip. Look at the person across from you. In their eyes, in the colored part of their eyes, typically, you will see a reflection of light, either from the light above them or from the window. Do you see that reflection? That is because there is a cornea, there is a moist layer on your eye. Water, moisture reflects light, okay? You got to put that on this eye in order for it to look realistic, okay? It needs to be somewhat curved or round. It needs to be in one area. And when we draw two eyes, they need to be on the same side so they don't look cross-eyed. So here's how you do it. You're going to choose which side it's going to be on, and you're going to make very lightly a little curved white area. Yeah, a little shine from an apple. Don't make it dark. Don't make the outline of it dark. Then, to color this eye in, we don't just start coloring it, because if you color side to side, it's not going to look right. If you look at the colored part of the person's eye across from you, it looks like the color comes from the center and goes out, like a starburst, no matter what the color is. If the person has blue eyes, you're going to want to color lighter. If the person has dark eyes, you color darker, but still the pupil is the darkest part of the colored part of the eye. So watch. Let me put my glasses on so I can see. From the pupil, I'm going to start coloring out very lightly. I'm going to make sure I don't go outside this line. And I'm going to make sure I don't go inside what I call the eye bright. That's the reflection. You're going to be able to see my marks, so I want to make sure I'm coming from the center out. In some areas, I'm going to be a little bit darker. And around the outside, I'm going to darken that in a little bit. And then that eye is just kind of pop. Okay, do that much. To make things dark, you don't want to press down with your pencil. You want to do what's called build up. You want to go over things 2 and 3 times. That's what gets them dark when you're drawing and you're sketching. If you just press down hard, you're just carving into your paper. Okay? When you're finished with that, go back to that first line that we did, and you're going to make it just a little bit darker. What you do when you're sketching, once you finally get towards the end, you make lines that you like just a little bit darker. That's going to define the top of the eye. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. I don't want it wider. I just want it defined. I'm not going to do that on my eyelids. I don't want them darker. Now, everybody has eyelashes, boys and girls. Typically, boys have prettier eyelashes than girls, and I don't know why, and it makes me mad. Just saying. Okay? Here's how eyelashes grow. And you can really go terribly wrong on eyelashes if you're not careful. All right? Eyelashes start in the corner, and they're small. They get longer as they go. We said this was where our nose was. So this side's where our ear is. And they go towards our ear. Okay, so I want you to watch. Don't do, just watch. I'm going to do one layer, and they come from this top line, the very first line we drew. And they cross over that eyelid. And boys, you don't have to make yours as long. And I do like 2 or 3 passes, and I call it done. You do not do that on the bottom. Okay, on the bottom, here's what you do. Smaller, fewer, only like a couple passes. Okay, give me some eyelashes. We're almost done with our eye. Got a couple more things. To really make this eye look realistic, our eyelashes also cause a shadow over the top of our eye, the eyeball. Not noticeable, but if you put it in there in your drawings, it just makes them look more realistic. Okay, so underneath the very top part, across the white part, just a very light shadow. Don't do it, just watch. So across the top, curving with that line on the white part, and then this part of the eye is going to be a little bit darker. Which kind of brings out that eye a little bit more. Again, I'm laying my pencil on its side, and I'm holding it way up, like halfway up, so that I can draw lightly. That's how you shade, that's how you sketch. Now, eyebrows. Everybody has eyebrows. And they are not just a line. And they are not colored in. We don't draw a little cartoon eyebrow and color it in. Eyebrows are one hair at a time. Put your eyes up here. They follow the same arch. They don't touch this line. This is our eyebrow or our eyelid. They come up a little bit, but they start in line with all this. They're thicker here. They curve. And they start thinning out to a little point. And that's it. Don't overdo. So they're longer here, and then they get shorter and smaller. When you finish with that, put your pencil's point side down in the pencil tub. I'm going to show you one more thing. Pencil's point side down in the pencil tub. All right, so once we start doing this for real, I'm going to introduce you to my friend, the blending stump. Okay? Because once we start shading, I don't want you coloring in things. I want you to learn how to do a little bit of shading, and then we're going to blend with this little thing. Okay? Watch what happens, because we don't want the color of the paper to be the color of our person. Let me put my glasses back on. I can use all this that I have here. Nobody should be doing anything but watching. So the lines that I made start turning into shadows and highlights instead of lines, which is what we want. And then we use this, start creating the cheek, and all that good stuff. Okay? So we use our lead to create skin tone. And then we use erasers to pull highlights out to make things pop out more. Isn't that cool? Okay, so once we start really doing and learning, I'm going to show you how to do all that. But what I want you to do right now is practice on that paper. You got a whole big piece of paper. Practice drawing eyes nonstop.